Hi, everybody. My name is Jen Tyrrell, and I am the principal at Carl Sandburg High School in Orland Park, Illinois. And I am thrilled to be participating in this year's Empowering Girls for Life conference. This is a great opportunity for all of you to be participating and hear from some outstanding speakers. And I'm just thrilled to be here alongside many just phenomenal women. Even though we are in a virtual platform, I know that this conference is going to be awesome. So today I'm going to speak with you about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and that is education. But before I jump in and talk to you about maximizing your high school experience while you prepare for your future, I want to tell you a little bit about my story. So I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago and ended up going to Western Illinois for college. I absolutely loved playing softball growing up, still coach softball to this day. Loved playing softball and thought for sure when I went to college that I was going to study something that would result in me being a collegiate softball coach. So I played for 4 years. I studied physical and health education, knew that a teaching degree would be something great to have if I was going to pursue a job in coaching. Played 4 years of softball, had an amazing experience, went to 2 NCAA regional tournaments, and have some of the best memories of my life through playing in college. And after I was done, I completed my student teaching. I student taught in Chicago in an elementary/junior high. And after I was done, I went back to Western Illinois and decided that I would get my master's degree. And I studied sport management for that first master's degree. And while I did that, I enjoyed coaching. I got the opportunity to coach under the legendary coach, Kathy Maroney, and had an awesome experience. And about a month or two into my second year coaching with Coach Maroney, she had decided that she was going to retire at the conclusion of the season. And at that point in time, I feel like I hit a bit of a turning point. At that point in time, I had to and wanted to make a decision as to if I was going to pursue a career in coaching or if I was going to decide to pursue a career in education. So it just so happened that a little bit later in that year, it was a Tuesday morning, my sister called me and she said, "Jen, you're not going to believe it. There is a job posting for a PE position at Stagg." And Stagg High School was the high school that we went to. So my hometown high school, my dream teaching job would be at that school. So I went to the computer lab. We didn't have laptops at that point in time. Went to the computer lab, applied for the position, and just about an hour or so later, got a call from the secretary in that PE division, and she asked me if I'd like to come for an interview. Macomb, Illinois is about 3 hours and 45 minutes away from Palos Hills, where Stagg is. So the interview was the next day. Jumped in my car, drove to Palos Hills, completed that interview, jumped back in my car, drove to Macomb, and got a call again. Would you be willing to come in for a second interview? Awesome, I'd love to. When is it? Tomorrow. Drove back to Palos Hills, Illinois, had a second interview. At that point, I had a vacation scheduled for the weekend. And so I got on a plane, I think I was traveling to Las Vegas, touched down in Las Vegas, and had a message from the boss and called him back right away, and he offered me that position. At that point in time, my life changed. My life changed because I got my first teaching job, my first job in education, and a job in an amazing district, and a job in a district that I still call home. And from that point, I taught and coached for 4 years, and then after 4 years decided to jump into administration, supervised teachers as a division chair, then became an associate principal for instruction, and that led to this opportunity as the principal of Carl Sandburg. And I am thrilled for what my path has become. But I guess I share my story with you today because I think it's interesting that I thought for my whole life that coaching would be my career. And coaching is a passion of mine. It's one of my many passions. But ultimately what it did was it opened the door for my career, which is a career in education. And right now, I proudly serve as the principal of Carl Sandburg High School, where I get the opportunity to work with so many young people on a daily basis that are just amazing. Their energy and their passion is outstanding. So I want to share with you today some things that we talk to our students at Sandburg about. All right, so today we're going to talk about maximizing your high school experience while preparing for your future. And we think it's really important at Sandberg that we talk about maximizing the high school experience and embracing the high school experience. A lot of times schools will overlook the current experience to talk about preparation for the future. So for us, it is so important that we talk a lot about maximizing that experience. So today I'm going to share a top 10 with you. All of you are ambitious young people who are looking to do great things now and great things in the future. So the things that I'm going to share with you are tips. They're tips of mine that you can utilize to embrace the experience, but also build your resume and prepare yourself for whatever it is you want to do when you leave high school. So you can see right now, my top 10 list is on the screen, and I'm going to go a little bit in depth to each of the top 10. So number one, course selection is really important. Rigor and interest should be things that you consider with course selection. GPA is an indicator of college and career readiness. Get involved, athletics and activities, serve others, high stakes testing matters, embrace leadership opportunities. It's important to know that national awards make a difference. Take advantage of social and emotional supports, impact your school culture in a positive way, and most of all, develop relationships and have fun. So I'm going to go a little bit in depth with each of those points. So first, when we talk about course selection and balancing rigor and interest, it's important that as a student, okay, and as a student that's thinking about admission to college from the second that you step foot into high school, it's important that you think really hard about what that course selection looks like. As a principal, as a school counselor, as a teacher, in any of those roles, but also in a role of a parent or a mentor, I would advise you to take rigorous courses. That does not mean that every single course on your schedule has to be an honors and AP course. If we're having conversations with families and we have a high-level student who's an honors and AP kid, but might not be super interested in English, just an example, or might not be really good in English, it's okay to take a course that's an academic or non-AP or honors level. But I would expect if that same young lady is really good in math and science, I would expect that that young lady pushes herself to take really challenging courses in math and science. Now let's take it one step further. Say that individual, say that young person, say you are interested in potentially in a career in engineering, and your high school has courses that are either Project Lead the Way or local-based engineering course, technology education courses. I would strongly suggest that you take advantage of those courses in those elective departments. It's a great way to figure out if your interest or something that you potentially could be interested in the future really is something that you might want to pursue later. It's great to learn that while you're in high school. So tip number one, balance rigor. Really, we want students to take courses that challenge them. AP and honors classes are great. AP courses are great because you can earn some college credit while in high school. But I'd also challenge you to take some courses in areas that really interest you. We have students who are really great in the music field, and we love that those students study band or choir or orchestra during school. It allows them to explore their passions when they're with us. And I think that that speaks to you being a really well-rounded individual. So number two, GPA is an indicator of college and career readiness. This is a neat point. We talk a lot about GPA at Sandberg because a student's GPA is one of the most important indicators to tell us if that kid's going to do well in post-secondary at college. And so how do you do well from a GPA standpoint? You do well in your classes. You work hard. You ask your teachers for extra help. You dig into the content. Where you struggle, you respond. In areas that you excel, you maintain that excellence. So GPA is super important, and it's kind of one of those indicators that like everything matters because how you do in every single class contributes to your GPA. And if I'm a college admissions person or I'm somebody who's reviewing resumes and I see somebody with a really strong GPA, I know that that means that they have committed themselves. They've committed themselves to every single class throughout the entire high school experience. So GPA, super important. Every class matters. And a high GPA tells me that you're committed across the board. Get involved in athletics and activities. I'm sure that many of you listening today and participating in this conference are athletes. Historically, when I've sat on this stage and I've spoken to you, I've seen a lot of our athletes out in the crowd. But I also know that typically athletes are interested in other things as well. So getting involved and staying involved is really important. Connectedness matters. We've done our own studies, okay, at Sandberg, and those studies have revealed that if you're involved, and if you're involved in multiple things, you're just plain going to do better. Not only are you going to have a more fulfilling high school experience, but you're going to do better on your SAT, you're going to do better in your classes, and you're going to have more relationships because you're going to meet more people, both classmates and teachers and sponsors and coaches who have similar interests as you. From an athletic standpoint, it's okay to do multiple sports. It's also okay to specialize if that's your thing. But I think you have to do you, and you have to figure out what works for you. So get involved, stay involved. The more you do, the more you try, the better off you're going to do, and the more fulfilling high school experience you are going to have. Bottom line. A little bit of a shout out to our local high school's Fem Power group. So a lot of our schools have started different Fem Power organizations. So I assume that if you're here participating virtually in this conference, that might be something for you to look into. Quite honestly, when I was in high school, I one-track mind, thinking about softball, that's all I wanted to do. If I have one regret for my high school experience, I wish that I would have paid more attention to the co-curricular opportunities. There's a lot of clubs, a lot of opportunities for service, and a lot of things that align to interests that I have that I just didn't participate in, and I wish I would have. All right, next one. Serve others. So this relates to co-curricular organizations as well, because many schools have service organizations. They have honor societies that ask their students to do service hours. There's key clubs. There's different organizations where you can inevitably participate in order to serve other people. Service matters. Service is something that makes for a more well-rounded high school experience as well. That service in the school, there's always opportunities to tutor. Many of our schools have resource centers. Those things look good on a resume as well. But quite honestly, there's also awards that come with service. There's intrinsic kind of the feeling about serving others, how that makes you feel. It's a great thing. But there's also different awards that you can be eligible for because of service. And I think service is important kind of to look at in two different ways. One, just generally serving others is a great thing. But two, sometimes you can also explore interests, passions, things that you might want to do later through service projects. An example of that, we had a young lady last year at Sandberg who I think completed about 1,000 hours, okay? That's unbelievable. Most of those hours were done within education-related fields. Well, that young lady ended up getting a very small scholarship to Illinois State University. She's majoring in education, and hopefully one day I'll be able to hire her. So service opportunities, one, look good on a resume, two, make you feel good and help others, and three, really can also kind of give you an opportunity to dig into areas that you think you might be interested later, and it's good to explore those things now. High stakes testing matters. So there's a lot of conversation always about the SAT, the PSAT. It all matters. And I think that it's important that you know that from the time that you step foot into high school, that you know that you are inevitably preparing for, and some schools administer a PSAT 9, PSAT 10, NMSQT, SAT. Some schools only administer the NMSQT and the SAT. But those tests really do matter, and it's important that you know that. There are always ways to help you prep and practice for those tests. I would say the best way to prepare for an SAT is to do really well in your classes. Take rigorous classes, do well. But practice always helps. And so there's a lot of resources. Some are free. Khan Academy is a great resource. College Board offers free practice tests. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to be able to practice taking SAT exams, And also prep, there are some tips and tricks, and there's a lot of other preparatory offerings that are kind of external to schools as well. Sometimes schools offer, local prep opportunities. So I would say stay in touch with your guidance office and the offerings that you have that in your school that the guidance office has for you. Another thing that our school has, and I'm sure other schools do as well, is we create our own local test prep resources. So we have a student LMS, a learning management system. Our math department creates SAT prep courses. We share it with all of our students, and they have an opportunity to dig in and kind of prep for courses on their own as well. Another tip, if you're a really high achieving student, okay, so if you are like top 1%, top 5% of your class, probably the biggest test for you in terms of scholarship qualifying is that national merit qualifying test. So for us, our students take that in the fall of their junior year, typically. This year's a little bit different, so we'll be offering that test a little bit later in our students' junior year. But that test really puts students who do really well in position to qualify for scholarships, but also they have the opportunity to win national level awards, okay? And that kind of brings me to my next topic, is national level awards matter. So in that instance, with the NMSQT test, those that are awarded as commended scholars, semifinalists, and finalists, that's a distinction that's really important, really a big honor, and that colleges look at. So from my work with admissions counselors, and we have another program at Sandburg where we bring in kind of admissions reps and we talk about kids' essays and how they're writing those essays. Another thing, kind of like a nugget that they share with us, is that national level awards and leadership opportunities really do matter, okay? So those are things that kind of separate people when we're looking at college admissions. But those are also really great things for your high school experience. So anytime you can position yourself to win those national level awards, whether it's in athletics, academics, activities, that's great. And sometimes there's opportunities to apply for those awards. Sometimes other people are recommending you for those awards. Be the student athlete, be the young person that your teachers, that your counselors, that your administrators think of when they're submitting an application for a national level award. I shared this a little bit already, but leadership matters. So we talked about getting involved and staying involved. Another thing that really is important in the experience and then to your preparation after high school is taking that opportunity to be a leader in whatever organization you're in. So when I'm writing letters of recommendation, and I write a lot of them, our students will kind of give me their hot sheet, their resume that has all of the information and all the things that they've done during their Sandburg experience. And I love when I can read a hot sheet and it's got some awards, but it also has a student, it outlines a student who's participated in a variety of activities, but then also has taken the time to take that next step and be a leader in those activities. So I know that colleges really like when students are involved from a leadership perspective. It tells us something. It tells us that this young person is willing to take initiative, that people will work well with this young person, that you are somebody that other people look up to. And so anytime that you have an opportunity to step in a leadership role, I think it matters. It matters to you and your development and who you are going to be later, because ultimately everything that you're doing now is contributing to the person that you're going to be later. So if you take that opportunity and you take those steps to embrace leadership opportunities, you're going to be better off later. You're going to be a better employee. You're going to be a better student. You're going to be a better teammate. You're going to be a better daughter. You're going to be a better friend. And so I encourage you, not just from a college admissions or resume standpoint, but from an all around kind of personal development standpoint, to embrace leadership opportunities. Another important one is take advantage of social and emotional supports. So what I want to encourage you is, if you're struggling, okay, if things aren't okay, I want to encourage you to say something. Say something to your parents, say something to your teachers, say something to a trusted adult at school. It's okay to not be okay. Mental health is so important. And if you have any any sort of concerns, or if you are having any struggles, you need to say something so that trusted adults around you, family, friends, can help you get supports that you need. And in our schools, we have outstanding mechanisms for providing social emotional support. Sometimes you just need to talk to somebody, and sometimes the struggles are more significant. But a really important part of the high school experience is developing from a social emotional standpoint. And it's okay to not be okay. And I just want to make sure that you know that there's people out there in your school to support you if you are having struggles. Something that we talk about a lot at Sandberg is impacting your school's culture. I believe that culture is the foundation for every single thing that we do at Sandberg. I want to challenge each and every one of you to be the young person, be the young woman that positively impacts your school's culture. It's a tremendous, tremendous opportunity that each and every one of us has. Every single person that walks into school each day or that attends virtual class has the opportunity to positively impact that school's culture. And I challenge each of you to be the young person that your principal, that your teachers, that your counselors, that anybody working in your school says, I want that kid to represent our school. Because if you're that person now during your high school experience, you're going to be a person that not only thrives now, but that also thrives later. And kind of my final tip for success as you're thinking about maximizing your high school experience and then preparing for your future is develop relationships and have fun, okay? It is super important that, sorry about that, wanted to share my screen as I'm closing out here. It's super important that you embrace the opportunity to have fun during high school. Be a part of the student section, join co-curricular activities, work in study groups with friends that you have in classes, take time to develop personal connections with your teachers and coaches and sponsors, smile, enjoy the experience. Oftentimes we're so far ahead of ourselves. We're thinking about the next steps that we lose the moment. Live in the moment, embrace the moment, take time for people, develop relationships. Those relationships and those people are going to be what matters as you leave your high school experience and go on to the next level. So have fun, embrace the experience, maximize your high school experience, but also think about, and a lot of these tips speak to thinking about kind of your future and what you might want to do after as you navigate the high school experience. So to kind of review, top 10 list, course selection, take classes that challenge you, but also take classes that interest you and allow you to kind of try things out that you might want to do later. GPA matters. It's a huge indicator of college and career success, okay, and readiness. So do your best in all your classes. And if you're struggling, ask for help, seek resources, get involved. Connectedness matters all the time. That's athletics and activities. You know, if you're a student athlete, I challenge you to try a club too. Try a club that you eventually can become a leader in. Serve others. Take advantage of opportunities to serve others, whether they're part of an academic or graduation requirement, a service organization, or just something that you do on your own. And think about service as an opportunity to explore your interests as well. High stakes testing matters, so think about how you can prepare and practice and prep for those tests, for that SAT, even outside of just doing well in all of your classes. Embrace leadership opportunities, and national awards matter. Those are a couple of things that I just want you to think about as you're navigating your high school experience. And remember always, maybe most important in this whole presentation is it's okay to not be okay. You just have to say something and know that there are so many social emotional supports to help you get through challenging times. Impact your school's culture. Be the one that makes a difference. Be the one that other people say, that young lady represents that school in the most positive way. If I want to put a kid in front of parents or prospective students or alumni, I want you to be the one that wants to be talking on behalf of your school. And develop relationships and have fun. Having fun is important. We don't want you to think so much about what's next that you miss what's in front of you. As I close out, just want to take one quick opportunity to just talk about the field of education. Education is a tremendous field. Many of your schools have future educator clubs. Many of your schools have teaching internship courses and an opportunity to kind of explore that field. We'll go back to my story. I originally got into the field of education because I wanted to coach. Many of you are athletes. Many of you are participating at a high level in sports, and you love sports, and they're going to open so many doors for you. You are going to be able to make a tremendous impact if you step into the role of coach after you are done being an athlete. I challenge you to think about if the field of education is an opportunity for you to make even more of an impact. Education is not just teaching. Teaching is one of the opportunities, a tremendous opportunity that we have in the field. But education also includes school counseling, psychologists, speech pathologists, administrators that often start as teachers. Coaches are also educators as well. So there are a lot of opportunities within the field that expand beyond teaching. And there's a lot of different content areas. So you might love math, you might love science, you might like working with struggling learners. Special education, you might be intrigued by those that are learning English language learner programs. So I challenge you, and all of you are thinking about what you're going to do next, and you should be. I would assert that the field of education is an awesome field, and it's an opportunity for each and every one of you to impact others every single day that you go to work, every single day that you go to school. And so as you're thinking about what the next step is for you, think about education, because you'll be able to coach others, you'll be able to teach others, but most importantly, you'll be able to develop relationships and impact others and change the trajectory of their lives. So thank you for giving me just a little bit of time and for hanging with me and hearing about the top 10. I challenge all of you to maximize your high school experience, think about future focused preparation, and keep doing the great things that you're doing, because every single thing that you do right now impacts the culture in any team or organization or school that you're a part of, but also contributes to your development as a person and your resume that you're putting together for the next step. And I know Coach Strohan's going to talk a little bit more about finding that right fit, and finding that right fit for the next level is important, but I want you to really enjoy the time that you have right now in high school. Thank you, and be well and be elite daily.